I really wanted the Dark Universe to work, but in the years since its toppling, Universal has really been exploring the possibilities of their legendary characters with films like Renfield, The Last Voyage of the Demeter, and The Invisible Man, the latter of which was written and directed by Leigh Whannell, who has been steadily crafting franchises and terrific original films for over 20 years now. His newest Universal relaunch, Wolfman, has some really captivating ideas and themes, as well as an interesting re-implementation of the werewolf mythos, even though its story is a little paint by numbers. When Blake learns that his long-missing father has been legally declared dead, he ventures off to his childhood home in Oregon with his wife and child to clean things up and close this chapter of his life. Quickly upon arriving, the family is beset upon by a humanoid creature who preys upon them in one horrifying night, all while Blake slowly succumbs to a dangerous transformation caused by the creature. Now, as with The Invisible Man, Whannell, along with co-screenwriter Corbett Tuck, has found an interesting wrinkle in the werewolf mythos to expand upon, this time using it as a view to examine parenting and the effects one generation has on the next, good and bad, often without complete intention. Blake's upbringing was an unhappy one, and he tries to stop the cycle of pain with his own daughter. As he comes to term with his father's true nature, so too his daughter's perception of him changes and morphs as she learns that she cannot entirely trust this transformed version of her father. Likewise, his wife Charlotte, someone who's less accustomed to being the parent due to her distance from Blake and her busy work schedule, now has to step into a leadership role to protect her daughter and save her husband, all the while dealing with this beast hunting them throughout the night. Now, it's clear that Whannell found inspiration in David Cronenberg's The Fly, and I appreciated his depth of character for Blake during the transformation, particularly in how he showcased the interactions between Blake and his family from their perspective, as well as his, as it slowly and continually distorts how he sees them. Also, much like The Fly, the protagonist slowly shuffles over to Charlotte as the weight of keeping them safe now rests with her, and the adjustment works nicely to further develop her character. Oftentimes when we see strained relationships in films, one of the characters is usually written as the asshole. That's not the case here. These are just two people who've become strained by life, and they're trying to find their way back to each other as the film moves on. Now, the Wolfman design may not work for some, but I was finding myself getting kind of used to it rather easily here, with the focus being on a wolf man more so than a werewolf, which is an important distinction in how the creature is represented. While a werewolf is a four-legged beast, this film is more like the 1941 original with a humanoid man with wolf-like features, which is something I've always preferred. And I like that he gradually took on more of that as the film went on, though I would have appreciated a little bit more exaggeration with the final look. Now, Whannell's strengths as a writer are in his characters, and I just wish his story had a little bit more to it, because I felt as though he could have paused the film after the first scene and I could have just guessed every sequence to follow and been mostly correct. I hadn't even seen a trailer. It just lacks the punch narratively that he goes for, likely because it wears so many of its influences on its sleeve. It's not necessary to twist and turn the plot for satisfaction, but it did feel a little too familiar for its own good. Overall, Wolfman is an entertaining new take on another classic Universal monster. Whannell has continued his streak of interesting projects imagined with a new hook. And this tale of fractured families and generational trauma does work within the Wolfman framework. While I wish this take on the creature stood out a bit more from the pack, almost made it through a review without a pun, it's entertaining enough for what it is, and it does come with a mild recommendation. I give The Wolfman a 3 out of 5. You can find a written version of this review over at goatfilmreviews.com, and you can also check out my review of Leigh Whannell's other film, Insidious Chapter 3, over there as well. But while you're here, make sure you like and subscribe. There are 2 free things that you can do that help to support the channel immensely, and you never miss new episodes of the show as they drop. You can also check out Goat Film Reviews on Facebook. You can follow me personally at Almighty Goatman on Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, Threads, and Blue Sky. And you can find my show Kyle and Nick on Film that I co-host with Nick Plotchuk from the St. Paul Filmcast. We have new episodes of that show every week. You can also check out a link in the video description here for the Minnesota Film Critics Association, of which I'm a member. You can find other film critics' reviews of new, popular, and classic films, as well as more of my stuff over there too. Thank you for joining me for this video review of The Wolfman, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.